but it will be, thank you. First of all, can you just clarify, you spoke about SAFRAN Electronics. Is it different to Sajid? And if it is different to Sajid, how is it different? Secondly, can you elaborate a little bit about the objectives and the aims behind this kind of collaboration? And which market, other than India, you are going to cater to with these collaborations?
Okay, so first question is very simple. Sajan is one of the company of SAFRAN Group.
Mm-hmm.
And within Sajan, you have three divisions. One division for, let's say, aerospace products, navigation. One division for defense projects.
Sorry?
Defense systems.
Defense systems.
And there is a third division called SAFRAN Electronics within Sajan. And that division delivers all the electronics needed by the other company of the groups. For instance, they deliver the engine control units to SNECMA or to Turbomeca. They deliver the landing gear electronic systems to Messi Bugatti Dauti. All the company of the groups works with SAFRAN Electronics to develop their electronics and software.
So the clientele for SAFRAN Electronics is within the group itself?
Yes. This division, the customer of this division are mostly the business units of the group.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Second question, I would answer in this way. In a high technology company like us, but it's not specific to SAFRAN, we cannot have in-house all the scientific knowledge on the planet. So we need to collaborate with public research. This has been identified a long time ago, 40 years ago, something like this, where we began to develop a common lab on materials and all sorts of things. So this is a way of doing R&D, industrial applied R&D with public institutions that are mostly devoted to fundamental, but the meeting of the two cultures is something that is beneficial for the company. This model, we want to develop it on the overall planet in countries that are developed in terms of science and technology, or that are more and more developed in that area. So in several parts of the world, we are building up this collaboration with high-ranking scientific institutions. So this is what we have begun with these two institutions in India. And clearly the technologies that we will work on are not specific to the Indian market. They can be applied to Indian market, of course, but they mean technology for the overall systems of the SAFRAN Group, so global wide.
Is it also connected to somehow Make in India initiative by our Prime Minister, which has been introduced recently, just in case?
Just one word on this to come back on what he said. I mean, what the growth of the SAFRAN growth in India is typical to multinational growth in a country like India. Again, 10 years ago, we were less than 500 people here.
Sorry?
10 years ago, we were less than 500 or 400 or something people here.
All right.
So you start here, well, we've been here for 60 years, selling things, but, selling. Then you come here, you start, for support. Then you start manufacturing things for India, just for India. Then you start exporting. That's what we've been doing actually a lot now. We export products from India. And then what's the next step? The next step is engineering. So again, I was mentioning 700 people. The next step is R&D,
right.
Education. That's the steps we are following. So I mean, to answer your question, the Make in India, obviously we are in it. I mean, totally. That's what we do.
All right. Perfect. Thank you.
My question is to SAFRAN Group. You just pointed out that the engineering division is growing at around 30% per year. Is it also linked to the expected growth which you perceive on account of the forthcoming MMRCA contract? And how much of this growth is on account of the engine you supply for the ALH?
ALH, yeah. Okay. No, today the growth. The growth is linked to the work we have there. Quite basic. So it's nothing to do with the MMRCA. It's just because the company is growing because we're using them more and more, knowing that this company is in competition with first of all our internal companies. So it's job you give to France or US or Mexico or India, and it's today that's one thing. It's primarily internal job. It's probably today jobs we do in India for our companies. So ALH, for example, we don't work on it today.
Could you repeat that? The ALH, please?
On the ALH today, we don't work on in Longana. We don't work on the ALH in the engineering part. We don't.
This is for the ambassador. Since MMRC has come up, could you give us since MMRC has come up, could you give us an update on where exactly the negotiations stand?
I can give you an update, but maybe not exactly. But all what I could say is absolutely true. It's of course a little bit comprehensive because I am not the company and it is for you to question the company. No, all in all, the negotiations are progressing well. Remember the Minister of Defense made some statement a few weeks ago before the Parliament. There was also a visit of the CEO of Dassault a few weeks ago to interact with the teams in the MOD and Air Force. So all these are signals that we are heading in the right direction, and there is not much else that I could say. I know there is a lot of press reports that you may have seen on some people saying this or that, and I've been asked already the questions, so I will tell you what I think. It's how can I put it? It's sad that a grumpy competitor use some bad words, but very sad, very sad. But I'm not going to respond to it. What I can only say is that we are absolutely confident that the Rafale flies safely and that it has long-range striking capability, which we have demonstrated in Libya, Afghanistan, Mali, and now in Iraq. So I think that's in the pudding.
How much are you confident or hopeful for signing the MMRCA, if I may ask?
Within this year.
Yeah. Or maybe within the financial year.
Your question is completely different because nothing here is in my hands. So probably the company can tell you when they expect to finalize the negotiation. But the signature is something which, of course, depends on the Indian government itself. It has to go through a certain process. So frankly, I cannot answer that.
Okay.
If I knew, I tell you.
But surely the France is very hopeful for that. Is that something you would like to
Yeah, I think
say
the
with
negotiations are
conviction?
moving forward. There is no particular hurdle. It takes time. It's a very, very big contract and extremely complex. I think for the first time that we work on such a complex operation with TOT, with the partnerships and the offsets and all this. It's a very, very big operation that we well built. And once we have a good paper, I think everybody will be happy. And we'll work for decades again. I remember 64 years, no, 61 years that that's always in India.
Right.
So with this one, we can probably approach
Central.
century.
longevity?
This is for SAFRAN actually. What is SAFRAN's role in the development of the Rafale?
question of the past, because Rafale was developed a few years ago. So you know, SAFRAN is providing the engine, the landing gears, all the environmental control systems,
Some of the armaments.
some of the arms, so a lot of things. All these pieces of equipment systems are based on mature technologies. So this were technologies developed by my predecessors. So myself and the R&D teams have no longer projects directly linked to the Rafale. Of course, we have some projects, technology projects aimed at the successor of the Rafale. So if one day France or Europe decided to develop a new aircraft, a new combat aircraft, we will propose new technologies. For instance, we have been participating to the demonstration of what we call a UCAV, unmanned combat aircraft called
Euron.
Euron is a project managed by Dassault, but with several companies, and we are part of the NON team. So we are working on combat aircraft, but not on the Rafale technologies.
So to answer your question, so it's SAFRAN is about kind of values about 1/3 of the plane, more or less. That's the engine, that's the landing gear, that's all kind of things.
One quick question. How SAFRAN Group compare Indian talents versus other global talent? How do you find the quality of talent in India versus the quality of talent outside India?
To be frank with you, today SAFRAN is still a very Frenchy company.
French. Right.
Most of our
Indigenous company.
indigenous company, if you like. So this is the result of the story. Now our market is global. I think that 80% of our products are for outside France. This is normal. So we will evolve in diversifying our talents. We have a very actual project. Today within a few days or weeks, we opened a new research center in France, in the campus of SAFRAN in France. But this, we have decided that the staff of this research center, which will be a corporate research center, will have to be multinational. So we have planned, for instance, to recruit, to hire very good Indian scientists for this group. So it's the first step, small step, but it's the first step that is difficult, and progressively we will evolve. Another way of evolving is that we have 700 engineers in SAFRAN Engineering Services in Bangalore. They are doing very good engineering job. Probably the way they will develop in the future is that they will make more and more high technology development, and perhaps the fact that we are collaborating with the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore will be a way to push them
Further right.
So this is a small answer to your large question.
Right.
Maybe also to come back on the importance of India for the group. As Anna was mentioning, it's today's SAFRAN is maybe a bit too French, still. So agreements like this, you don't have many. Actually, you have just one or two in the world, which you can just to prove also, that what we are announcing today is not neutral.
No, I couldn't get it very clearly.
No, agreement like this one today, we don't have that many in the world.
Oh, okay. That speaks on its own.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Rather, we can ask a non-SAFRAN question. Ambassador, recently the Indian government told that the next lot of 6 submarines will be made in India with foreign collaborators. Will the French government be backing your country's submarine making companies into finding collaborators in India?
This is very far from SAFRAN, actually. What I can say is that we have seen that this decision was taken, that was waiting for some time, and so that's useful to that now some kickstart is done, is given, and I'm sure we are going to look into this and see what how we react to that. But response should come very quickly, and partnership will be part of it indeed.
Will the French government say back it or say, in other words, try to bring about the French company with stocks to some other country because you're already working with India?
Yes, yes. Well, if we decide to move forward in that direction, then of course partners will be asked, but that's for the company to decide. And I'm not a technician who can say this one is the right partner or this one is the other one. So they will have their talks, and I'm sure they will be a good partner in India, that's for sure.
I want to talk about this collaboration itself. You said you have many faculties and you gave us general broad idea. Can you be more specific, please? About the collaboration itself.
IISC.
In IISC.
The collaboration with SAFRAN.
And IIT.
The collaboration with SAFRAN at the moment is at 2 levels. One is the classic industry-academia relationship, which is coming to the SARC department, which is an R&D project from SAFRAN to IISC. The second is a collaboration with one of our startups. And the CEO of which is Chandan Haldar. He's at the back somewhere. Yeah, Chandan. He's the CEO of Morphing Machines. And it is a sort of a contract to them. And there is a relationship with that on what we will do also. So it's at 2 levels. And right now it is with the SARC department officially at the university industry R&D level. The other is with the startup.
Can you elaborate on the first point, what exactly it is about?
Which one is it?
The academia collaboration.
The academia collaboration, I'll toss to Nandi. Nandi, you want to take the mic? The dynamic collaboration. Redefined.
The academic collaboration will relate to applications that need to be accelerated and trying to find solutions for avionics applications on massively parallel architectures of platforms. And the platforms are what is going to be provided by the technology startup Morphing Machines.
Thank
It is in that context that we are happy that France is engaging with our startups, and we would love more from the group also to engage. We have a lot of IT-based startups, and that's another arena I thought, other than placements that was being mentioned. Again, recruitment of PhD students, undergrads, masters is something that we would love to have engagements also with. I hope that answered. Yeah.
Just the same.
In which department?
Which department? Which faculty?
Okay, the faculty, the PI in this, the principal investigator in this particular case is Professor Jayadeva from the Department of Electrical Engineering. So though it's called Department of Electrical Engineering, but it's a very broad department. So much of the expertise regarding electronics and communication is also residing in that department.
We hope that the relationship will go beyond one department and one faculty, and that's what we are looking forward to also.
PhD divide.
We also extend your PhD, and I was just wondering whether you have this with other companies also, where
Yes.
you take on PhD and undergrad students.
Yes, yes, indeed. I think all relationships of academia that I spoke of, I think even
Applies to
Anil
us.
has, and I think it's between all of these premier institutions. We engage with industry like this. We also have a fellow, for example, a company can sponsor a PhD student, which is not the ERA program that I talked about, where the industry comes to do PhD with us. So they can also actually recruit the student separately and provide the scholarship for the student, which otherwise comes from MHRD, to the company. So we're trying to initiate some things like that. And I think the Ministry of IIT has a nice schema. They said that if you do 4 students like that, I think with industry, then 1 would be coming from government. So the 5th one. Yeah, so we're trying to encourage this, whether actually the industry comes and sponsors a PhD student. It will be over a 4-year or 5-year period. We're trying to have more such engagements.
How much budget will be allocated to this team from IIT and from SAFRAN?
When we are in the project,
For how much investment
is coming in for the SAFRAN University Industry Engagement. Or is it
So what is the value of our project?
which one?
For approved.
24,000 euros.